What is up, Rumble? What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Ryan Matta Show. Happy Friday, folks. Today is March 29th, 10:01 a.m. Thank you guys for joining us today. We're going to have a great interview. And I just wanted to give a big shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Gary Cardone. He's going to be joining us for an interview, so I won't overtalk it. Just do us a huge solid. Smash that like button. Please swing down in the description and follow Gary. I got his links to his Twitter down there, and then I also got a link to one of his social media like calendar pages that has all of his links to his LinkedIn, his Twitter, his YouTube, his Instagram, Spotify, and his email. Before I overtalk it, let me just bring Gary on the show. Gary, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks, man. Great to be here, Ron. Appreciate you having me.
No, man, I appreciate everything that you're doing, especially for the Bitcoin world and the Bitcoin community and digital assets as a whole. So I'd really like to kind of hear a little bit about your story, when you got into Bitcoin, and we're going to kind of just go from there.
Sure. Well, I started looking at Bitcoin in 2014 and was put off by the already very clear tribal arguments between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin this and BSV and Bitcoin. And I was building a really big business in the payments industry around fraud technology. And I was just like, okay, I don't have enough energy or focus. Mm-hmm. One thing I've really done really well, for some reason, my family has an extreme ability to focus on a few small projects. And, I'm a very, very consolidated investor, trader. I think all great money has been made from massively consolidated positions, not spread out. What do they call it?
Diversification.
Yeah, diversification. Nobody gets super rich from diversification. When they make a lot of money, then they diversify because they want to protect it. But It's been an interesting journey for me. And I just want to talk about the circus noise a little bit. I think that is a value of Bitcoin as an investor. I look at that now and go, wow, we've done a really bad job of marketing. Mm-hmm. We've got 15 years under our belt. We're at 73,000 and we've done everything we possibly could to make this difficult. So for me, it's really positive, but you have to get through all the carnival noise and understand part of an evolution of any great industry. All the characteristics of a great industry are inside Bitcoin right now. All the weird stuff that's happening, that happens in every industry when it's being created. So I get very, very comfortable with the state of things because I've been here before. I've seen this so many times before, and it's really what raises my conviction level to Bitcoin. But I've studied it. Like I started studying it in earnest in 18. To answer your question, I've started buying some in 18. I bought some gold, bought a lot more gold than I did Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. I just could not get my head wrapped around putting millions of dollars into Bitcoin at $8,000. It seemed risky to me. Mm-hmm. Far riskier. This is really important because people are going to look at $8,000 and go, wow, he could have bought millions of dollars at $8,000. I could have, mm-hmm. but I would rather buy 3 times the amount of volume at $73,000 today, mm-hmm. or $70,000 because risk adjusted. I know more about Bitcoin today and regulatory wise, tax wise, risk wise. We have ETFs. We have super large entities coming into the space. Mm-hmm. We've weathered 14 nuclear war events inside of Bitcoin, outside of Bitcoin, attacks from every bloody angle, internally and externally. And I get to now buy this product at 70 grand. It's tested, proven, nuclear proof, fault proof. It's just, for me, this will be the cheapest moment ever in the history of Bitcoin, risk adjusted, to mm-hmm. invest in this asset class. So I really got heavy in about 2020. Bought a lot of Bitcoin and then also started buying fairly large positions in technology firms that serve blockchain and Bitcoin forensically, like reporting, analytics, stuff like that. It's a company called Node 40. I think it's in the header. So anyway, really excited about the industry, man. It gives me another probably 5 to 10 years of intellectual stimulation, mm-hmm. and hopefully a really good financial reward. So, and I think we can make a difference on the planet without getting too theoretical and spiritual. But I think this is a really timely product, timely industry, offering a tremendous amount of jobs. Like the jobs that are going to be created from this industry are staggering.
And
So
they're
anyway,
great paying jobs too. They're not just entry level like flipping burgers at McDonald's. I mean, a starting engineer, and if you even have like what is it, like 8 weeks coding experience in Solidity, starting pays like 120,000 a year, which is great money for these people. Do you see?
yeah.
Do you see the United States from a regulatory standpoint taking the right steps and pushing us in the right direction to make the United States the leader or forefront in blockchain technology or digital asset technology?
I'm going to answer it with a weird answer. I don't think it matters. So,
I
so as
agree.
as an investor in Bitcoin, I look at threats, right? And as an American, which if I really thought about your question there,
Yep.
as an American, I would love to be able to say, "Hey, America is going to be on the front end of this." As an investor and understanding game theory and macro markets, it doesn't freaking matter what Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren does or does not do. See you later, dude. This
Let's
is
go.
so far beyond Elizabeth Warren now. This
Yep.
is so far beyond Gary Gensler. I was with a guy 3 weeks ago named Peter, guy about my age, runs a big hedge fund. Well, I shouldn't say $2 billion. They're beginning to allocate into Bitcoin. His question was, "Hey, look, what can the U.S. government do to put me in a regulatory mess, right? Where I could get in, but I can't get out, or I can't get in, or I have a bunch of regulatory matters, or I get filings from 3-letter agencies." And all these smart people in the room gave him an answer. And I just turned around, looked at him and said, "Dude, we're only 12% of this market. It doesn't matter. The U.S. government could ban Bitcoin tomorrow morning. They're going to try to ban self-custody. They can ban it tomorrow morning. The price will go up. That next afternoon, they invested $4 million for 250 families. And those 250 families do not know they own Bitcoin today. Have no clue. They just allocated it. So we're getting there now. This is so getting ready to make it. But my point is, you don't have to tell people about every little piece of regulatory matters. All you have to do is go, "We're only 12% of the market. It doesn't matter." Period. Like, ban it. Okay. China, London, Dubai, they'll all pick it up. I mean, look what Hong Kong's doing, man.
Yeah.
They're going to launch an ETF that allows you to take Bitcoin in kind. That's going to be a premium product to the United States. So the United States is very competitive. We'll get our shit together once we get rid of this current office.
I couldn't agree more. Right before we got online, you had talked a little bit about what you were doing before as far as in the credit card industry and fraud prevention and stuff like that. We've seen a lot of these blockchains outside of Bitcoin that have get hacked, and there's always constant issues. What is your standpoint on other digital assets outside of Bitcoin?
I think we're digitizing planet Earth. And, my brother, well, he most certainly does not understand this world as well as I do. He good old legacy real estate guy. And the way I explain it to Grant is, "Grant, look, can you ever imagine you and I ever using an 8-track tape again?" I mean, some of your audience is like, 8-track tape, what's that, right? Grant and I used to go to school when we were 17 years old, smoke a doobie at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and slam, Grand Funk Railroad into the 8-track tape and hear the right.
Oh.
This is my point. Okay, I know it's such a stupid visual, but even my brother cannot answer the question, "Oh yeah, we're going to go back to 8-track tapes one day." And the point I'm trying to make is, like, I have 40,000 songs on this thing, videos, podcasts. Who ever thought we were going to have compression technology that allowed us to do this?
Yeah.
This is as good a quality, except maybe for your lighting, as CNN, man. And like, I got a $6,000 camera here. That's it.
Yep.
CNN paid 600 grand for their cameras,
Yep.
right? So technology is happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you believe that, see, I think there's going to be a day, probably in the next decade, where I am not allowed to drive my analog car on the highway
Mm-hmm.
because I become the variable risk, right? If we go robotic and digital, you can't have crazy analog guy on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a tipping point. We're just hitting this tipping point where analog, pencils, spreadsheets, they're just not big enough to handle all the data.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's a very good example. Most people know what a 1099 is, right? You get a tax report. Hey, I made 100 grand this year. This is how much I owe in taxes. There's 4 billion 1099s in the United States for old legacy assets,
Mm-hmm.
real estate, your income, distributions, all that stuff, right? In order to do digital, crypto, smart contracts, NFTs, DeFi, 8 more billion 1099s have to be created.
Mm-hmm.
8 billion on top of the 4 billion. Now, somebody pays for all these 1099s, okay? You and me are paying for this. But imagine if you're an accounting firm and you're like, okay, there's $55 billion worth of taxes to grab from crypto, but it's going to cost $50 billion to go grab all the data.
Mm-hmm.
And the government's like, we didn't ask you guys to invest in crypto, dude. Just because crypto has very, very different, digital assets have different characteristics. One Bitcoin one day is going to equal many dozens of transactions. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
in order for me to acquire one Bitcoin, it's somewhere between 8 and 15 transactions. Unique, 15 different sellers, 15 different social security numbers, 15 different keys, right? With slightly different pricing.
Mm-hmm.
All unique assets that I can granularly look at, pick one piece and go, hey, I'm going to sell this piece, this one piece, or this one piece has a tax event to it. This world is not ready to manage all this data. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
the point I'm just trying to make is that we are moving from a analog pencil Excel spreadsheet world to a different world where everything is rented, leased, used, measured, accounted for. Like, if you can digitize, then you will, because it's efficient, but also you have to be able to track all that data. And you're not going to do it with analog tools. You're just not going to do that with analog tools. So for instance, like the big accounting firms suggest that it costs them 500 hours to figure out the accounting and tax implications from a $250,000 Bitcoin portfolio. 500 hours, man.
Wow.
So like I've invested in companies that build technology inside this industry that reduces that 500 hours to less than an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be tremendous efficiencies brought here. And as you said, like for me, the big up is the amount of people that are going to be employed here. And the cool thing is they are really good paying jobs, but I think they're going to be great paying jobs, and you don't require to spend 4 years and $200,000 to go to a stupid college. Yep. Literally, you don't need an education to come into this industry. All you have to do is be willing to learn, willing and capable of learning. So it's unparalleled opportunity.
So what are your thoughts on blockchains like Solana and Ethereum? And specifically, I know, are you investing in other digital assets outside of Bitcoin?
I am so you asked me, hey, what do I think about the other digital? Like I was trying to say, hey, look, I think we won't know who the winners and losers are for years. Could Ethereum be a big winner? Sure. Could Solana? Sure. Do I have investments in some of those companies? I own 11 Ethereum. I'm not a big Ethereum buyer. I'll tell you, I used to own a lot of Ethereum. I've kind of it's my least favorite thing because of a lot of reasons. Uh, if I am going to go invest in Ethereum, I'm going to immediately go to Solana or something like that. It just doesn't make. If I'm going to take the risk of it's not decentralized, I
Yep.
have human error risk. If
Mhm.
Vitalik gets killed on his 7X Dassault plane,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure Solana's price is going to go down.
Mhm.
Okay, there isn't anybody to die Bitcoin.
Yep.
See, I
100%.
love Bitcoin. Monopoly
Mhm.
cannot be regulated. When was the last time any of you guys had the ability to buy into a monopoly at the same price that BlackRock gets to buy into it? This is a monopoly, okay?
Mhm.
Bitcoin is a pure monopoly. The cool thing is there's no letters or addresses for the DOJ to send any antitrust to,
Yep.
right? None. I mean, look at Google. Google's getting beat up right now for being
Mhm.
a bit of a, well, they overplayed their hand, right?
Oh,
And
of course.
DOJ's coming in here going, hey, bullshit, dude. You can't just charge people 30%, knock them off your platform and control pricing.
Mhm.
So Bitcoin's a monopoly, but it has no regulatory risk. I find that to be really fascinating, man.
That's astounding. It is
No,
absolutely fascinating.
no regulatory risk. Okay. And if you look at regulation is an indicator that the government is supporting a particular industry and or particular players. So
Mhm.
every time the DOJ goes into these companies, just buy their stock, man.
Mhm.
The more regulation validates the space, it's good. It's very, very good. That's why I say at 70 grand, this is a no brainer, man.
Yep.
This is better than at 25 grand. We didn't have all this clarity.
You know, I find it also is it's crazy in the blockchain space that you have the ability to see the inside workings of a blockchain from the inside out, right? Everything's on GitHub. Everything revolves around their coding languages. And I don't think there's enough educational content out there that actually are teaching people about the difference between Solidity and Rust. Like Ethereum's built in Solidity's coding language, which is inherently their biggest flaw and why Ethereum is having so many issues scaling. Rust is where Solana and Avalanche are built, and they're also flawed coding languages. So there are other blockchains out there that have created these new coding languages which are 100 times more superior than Ethereum and Solana. What do you think it is that continues when we see, like, if I just pull up some of the analytics that you're kind of talking about over here, you know, there was $7.8 billion worth of hacks were just involved around rug pulls and other scams. And then we see in like 2019 to 2020, we can see that DeFi is becoming like the biggest hacked where most people are losing their money in crypto. And I want to think in 2021, it was around 14 billion, I think. I want to say, if I'm saying that right, yeah, 14 billion in total hacks in the DeFi ecosystem, all revolving around the coding languages. So why is it that so many investors are still piling their monies into these specific blockchains when they're so flawed?
Well, are we sure they're investors?
True. Yeah, good call.
Or are they a bunch of children telling their wives and boyfriends and girlfriends that they're expert traders? They're spending 10 hours a day trading $1,500 on circus tokens and reading TA, trying to swing 50 bucks a day. Look, guys, I look at that and go, first off, swing trading $15,000 or 1,500 bucks is not a profession.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're better off going to get a job. Come get a job with me. I'll pay you 50 grand a year, and you'll walk away 2 years later, and you'll actually have some knowledge.
Yeah.
Like I've never gotten rich off doing this token shit. Some of the stuff I do, look, I own probably $1 million worth of miners. To me, like anybody playing tokens and they're not investing in the miners or Coinbase or MicroStrategy,
Mm-hmm.
like why would you go invest in some crap token because it's 3 cents
Mm-hmm.
when you could have bought Coinbase at 70 bucks? You really think Coinbase is going to be a loser?
Yep.
Coinbase is like a token, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're buying into the industry, right? Like
Yep.
I use Coinbase. Why wouldn't I also buy Coinbase at a certain share value, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, Mike, I mean, I had somebody trying to convince me yesterday to buy MicroStrategy, sell Bitcoin and buy MicroStrategy. Well, MicroStrategy, that's effectively like me paying $177,000 for Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's trading at like a 2.2 premium or something,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, like, one of these is wrong. Either MicroStrategy at 177, but literally had a guy saying, "Hey, in front of 500 people, hey, I'm buying MicroStrategy and selling Bitcoin." I'm like, bro, like, Why would you do that? I don't. You think you're going to get? His theory is MicroStrategy goes into the S&P and everybody's got to buy it. Maybe so, but if that's true, Bitcoin's going to roll, dude. Like, why would I pay 177 for MicroStrategy, right? But why would I buy Polana or Boba when I could, to me, there's better options. So I'm not convinced they're investors. I think they're the weakest hands in the market. And that's why you get all this volatility.
Yeah.
And most of those people, if you ask questions to these people, go, hey, look, you're going to deploy $1 million into Boba? No, dude, but I'll do $1 million into Bitcoin right this second at 70. They're different conversations. Like, I'm Gary Cardone, 66 years old, going to put 85% of his liquid net worth into Solana. No chance, man.
No chance.
But I'll do it in the Bitcoin all day long. So we're conflating these conversations. Okay, this is like comparing farm league football to professional football. Right? I mean, it's just like we shouldn't even conflate the two subjects. We should say we have these digital lottery tickets that probably have no life whatsoever. Like Ethereum could be MySpace, man.
I think it is.
It could be. Like, you have to expect most of these early comers, they will fail. And most people can't get their head wrapped in there. Oh, Ethereum's got all this code. You don't know what the fuck Ethereum has or doesn't have. Like, they're only as good as their weakest link, right? They don't make money. There's $300 billion of market cap. And then I look at Bitcoin and go, wow, it's only $1.3 trillion of market cap. That is cheap, man.
It is.
That is so cheap. If I told you could buy gold at, call it $70, would you buy gold at $70?
Absolutely.
I think that's what Bitcoin's priced at right now, $70 gold.
I agree. I want to kind of dive into a little bit of a different topic. I want to throw a video at you. This is actually one of your videos. People are probably getting sick of me playing it because I probably played it the last 3 days in a row. But you should be able to hear this and see this. I want to play this video and ask you a couple questions about it.
Hey, Greg, I'm really excited about this announcement we're getting ready to make tomorrow on our expansion on the media thing. I think, hiring like 2 or 3 more people, we might need to look at, renting an office space downtown. Yeah. I know you had some ideas about like doing a deal with some people that do that kind of stuff. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I mean, we could rent, but there's opportunity downtown right now to buy. I think buying would be we could buy a spot and we could build out studios. Yeah.
Why the fuck would we buy a spot, dude? Look, Greg. We buy Bitcoin. We rent locations. Like when are we going to get this, bro? We buy Bitcoin. We go rent a location from somebody that makes a nice little 4 or 5 or 6% yield on us. Okay. Yeah. We can get in and out of that location anytime we want. And we produce more activities. We generate some fiat. We take the fiat, remove it from the bank, and we deploy it into Bitcoin. We buy Bitcoin. We rent everything else, bro.
All right, I guess I'll look for a place to rent.
That's my man, dude.
That's my man. Tell us a little bit about that. I think a lot of people are watching that video going, I don't quite understand where he's coming from there. Are you saying that deploying your capital into Bitcoin and then using the profits that you generate from Bitcoin, you're basically mining fiat, deploying it into the capital into Bitcoin because Bitcoin's now appreciating at a higher value than real estate, and you're not locked into a piece of land that you're in a contract with? You just want to take your Bitcoin and up and move. You can move anywhere with all of your capital at any time.
First off, people said, hey, look, that was faked out. That was faked out, but it came from a conversation we had 3 minutes ago. And I said, hey, where's the camera guy, dude? Because he literally said, hey, let's go rent. Let's go buy, spend $3 million on a commercial building. Just 7-year lease. I buy a building. I've got taxes, and I'm not in the commercial real estate business, man. I'm in the digital asset business. Okay. What I'm going to put a $3 million piece of property on my balance sheet, Cardone Digital Ventures. Nobody's going to care. That thing's not going to produce any energy, the property. So these young guys, they immediately, hey, let's go buy something. I'm like, why would you buy that? Let's rent, pay somebody $10,000 a month. I have $120,000 in fees to rent. That's an expense, an operating expense. I will push that off against my taxes on Cardone Digital, right? Like I'm running out of space here. I'm hiring too many people for the location we have. So if I look at putting $2 million and then, you know, all the accrued, all the upgrades and all that stuff, I'm now having to manage a building instead of me just paying the 10 grand and buying Bitcoin and allowing Bitcoin's appreciation to work for me. It's accelerating at a 45% increase per year. Everything I look at, whether it's buying a car, whether it's renting a building, selling some of my real estate, it has to beat 45% IRR per year. That's my measurement, because I can sit on Bitcoin without any headaches and be very, very comfortable that I will make 45% per year, every year for the foreseeable future. So why would I take a dollar? Look, I'm in an $8.6 million home right now. Okay. I know some of your people be like, whoa, look guys, I'm 66, man. I've been working my whole life. The other thing is the bank basically gave me $12 million to buy an $8.6 million house. Okay. So literally, like, this was at the very max peak of zero interest rates. Okay. And they were throwing so much money. Like, this is where I got this concept that I have this theory that the globe is at max consumption, that every wealthy person on the planet and most middle income and poor people have literally gone to max consumption. They can't buy any more Rolex watches, man. Okay, like literally that Rolex watch prices are coming down. The private jet market is coming down. What is that? How many airplanes can my brother have, man? How many airplanes can a sheik have? How many villas can they have? How many t-shirts can you have? How many Rolls Royces that trade for $500,000? You guys think Bitcoin can't go to $1 million? Why are 6,000 Rolls Royces every year sold at $500,000? Why? Because rich people can buy whatever the hell they want. And when they find something that they've never been able to buy, they've never, ever, I don't know one rich person that's ever been able to buy a truly finite commodity that cannot be accelerated, can't be controlled, and cannot be distorted in supply and demand terms. Never did. Like, when you start thinking about this, no king on the planet has ever been able to secure a pure, once in a lifetime, can't make it up, can't copy it, can't duplicate it, can't increase the supply of a product, commodity, or service. It's never happened. Oil, you most certainly can increase the production. Electricity, just throw a number at it. Gold, most certainly at $7,000, dude. We'll build submarines that'll go underwater and figure it out, right? You want some more water? At the right price, we will desalinate salt water and turn it into fresh water at the right price. So there's nothing on this planet we can't buy more of or produce more of at the right price, but you cannot do that to Bitcoin.
That's amazing.
Did that answer your question?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Where do you see your business? And you guys are working on several things you had talked about. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're working on in the digital asset space? Yeah,
but let's just get back to this real estate thing. See, because I think people go, hey, Gary, why would you spend 10 grand in rent? It's not going to anything. Well, first off, most people don't apply that $10,000 to their principal. They're applying it to their interest. Secondly, I'm very cool with my twin brother making 6 or 7% on me.
Mm-hmm.
He's buying a bunch of properties, or Grant doesn't do this commercial stuff, but anybody, whoever my landlord is, cool, dude, you make 6%. I'm making 45.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like, his strategy is to build a bunch of commercial buildings and be in that business. That's awesome. Why would I think that I need to own that business? Like, most people fly in airplanes, they don't buy the whole airport and the airplane. They just rent, man. You lease all your planes. When was the last time you bought a hotel?
Never.
No, you don't buy hotels. You actually just rent the room for the night.
Mm-hmm.
And when was the last time anyone shamed you for not owning the Four Seasons, but you invite them into your Four Seasons one night on Wednesday when you're there? Nobody's like, oh, you don't own the Four Seasons. I'm not going to treat you the same. But we treat our homes this way. Ooh, I have to own the home. You know, the home's different if I own it versus, this is a very female thing also. But it's been indoctrinated into us to own things, yet we don't use these things very often. An automobile is used less than 4% of the time. That's not a good use of your money, right? 4% utilization. Wouldn't that car be better off if it was on the road being utilized at least 20% of the time?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We'd have less cars, man.
Yep.
Right? So I think it's just about reframing the way we use money. And it's okay for someone to make money renting to me. They'll be able to consolidate 100 different packages of real estate, grab a bunch and make that work on scale. Whereas if I get a phone call for this house that the plumbing's broken, I have to either come here and fix it or I have to send somebody out to fix it. And that is not my core business. My core business is looking at investment opportunities, great people, let somebody else make a little money on the maintenance, HOA to me on real estate. And I don't know any real estate that's going to improve at 45% a year, man.
So do you think that, people are always kind of serving their self-interest, and a lot of people saw BlackRock and these corporations buying up all the, single family homes in America, and they were looking at it as a negative thing. I interviewed a gentleman yesterday who was saying that, people are always going to serve their self-interest, where BlackRock, really, real estate was the best option to protect their capital. They knew they couldn't sit on cash, so they were looking for a place to deploy their resources and generate income for one, but also protect their capital. And we just saw BlackRock buy like $15 billion worth of Bitcoin in these ETFs in the last couple of weeks. And he goes, that's $15 billion that didn't go into single family homes that could have, right? So do you think we're going to continue to see that trend? Or do you think that Bitcoin will actually help the real estate kind of crisis that we're going in and maybe bring down some of these prices? Because people like yourself are now going to be looking at Bitcoin as a way to deploy their assets or their capital instead of into, single family homes.
Nope, I don't. I actually am not sure this thesis is correct that Bitcoin's stealing anything from anything. In fact, I don't think Bitcoin has to steal anything. If you go back to my viewpoint that we're at max consumption, there isn't much more real estate for anybody to buy. Okay, now I think Bitcoiners are going to be some of the biggest real estate buyers in the world that we've ever seen. And most of them go, I'm never selling. Dude, if you have 10,000 Bitcoin, first off, this thing about never selling Bitcoin, 46% of you will get divorced. Period. you guys can say, oh, Gary's been married 3 times and, he's got a divorce syndrome. But dude, these are facts. 46% of you will get divorced. You will have to figure out how to split up all the Bitcoin, and it's extremely complicated. For instance, who gets the $800 coins and who gets the $70,000 coins?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a deal. That's a big deal. Like, my ex-wife was like, I want all the $8,000 coins. Good, dude. You can have every one of them, but you also get the tax bill. I want the really expensive ones, right? So, I think that first off, BlackRock is going to have their multi-dwelling real estate business outside of and above and forever, including Bitcoin. These are different divisions. They're different bets. What if there's so much money sitting on the sidelines that it doesn't actually need to leave any of the other asset classes? Here's a very good example. My brother throws off $56 million worth of distributions every year to unaccredited and accredited investors that have investments into his facilities. Those are the perfect investors to do what I call synthetic Bitcoin mining. Okay. It is the most profitable. I should, take this on as my own little trademark this. The distributions, for instance, I receive distributions every month from 3 or 4 different investments. Those distributions, fiat, move into Bitcoin. I buy Bitcoin with fiat dollars produced from yield producing investments like real estate, and then become a Bitcoin owner without any of the Bitcoin mining, operation capital cost, the input cost, getting into energy and data centers. Oh, I'm just buying Bitcoin, 70 grand, dude. So for me now, I have a flywheel. Right. And this is why I say that, and I do believe Bitcoin will be a product where you can get yield from one day, but I think you'll see whales who own tens of thousands of Bitcoin when the commercial real estate market really, really implodes and they can buy 30 cents on the dollar. They're going to sell Bitcoin. Oh, by the way, the 46% that don't get divorced, 100% of you will die. So you're going to sell your Bitcoin. Okay. This concept of dying with your Bitcoins is the dumbest idea I have ever heard in my life. It's just so stupid that you would take your 10,000 Bitcoin to your grave. For what? Like, get that money back in the system and let's help build the industry better. I'll hold on to it. Like, what are you going to do with it? This should be fuel. It shouldn't be, oh, I'm going to capture. I'm never going to sell to Blackstone. This is gasoline, man. I have a car. It's worthless without any fuel in it. We have a great industry. It's either going to get invested by BlackRock or guys like me. And I would rather, I want to participate in an industry that literally everyone is at ground zero, right? Everybody gets to play in this Major League Baseball game at some level. And I want everyone there. The more players there, the better. Like, this is not a net zero sum game here. This is people can make money for long periods of time, 20, 30 years. In this industry by just putting their head down and focusing on bringing value to it. So I just think there's so many opportunities here, and that, like, to think of this in finite terms, I wouldn't do it that way. I would look at one of the greatest pivot events. Look at what Saylor has done with his business, man. He has completely revolutionized MicroStrategy. That is not going to go unnoticed. It's absolutely not going to go unnoticed. So we'll have 50 of those, 50 small MicroStrategies doing that this year. We'll have a couple of sovereigns that will put this on their balance sheet. It makes sense, if not multiple sovereigns, if they're not even already doing it, which I actually think they're already doing it.
Where do you see the industry evolving to over the next year and a half? What are the things that you're most excited to see coming in the Bitcoin ecosystem or in the industry as a whole?
I think the next 14 months to 18 months is going to probably be the most significant period for Bitcoin ever. None of the money that we think's coming into the ETFs has actually come into the ETFs. The money that you're seeing today is just the very beginning. And the way this is going to happen, because of the culture of these companies getting people into the Bitcoin, there's going to be stages. The first stage, what we're seeing right now, is a bunch of front running. I think probably the market from 25 to 50,000 was a bunch of insiders getting a heads up on the ETF. Hey man, let's go grab this at 25. There'll be some churn here because I think, look, I've been in these markets my whole life. If you're one of the guys, you get the phone call. Hey bro, I need you to buy, we're going to be using you. So I suspect that there's a small little club of people that were able to buy a bunch of 25s to 50. We've had some of that trade out. But what's getting ready to happen, okay, is this allocation. My friend that did the $2 billion fund, he made an allocation of $2 or $4 million. Those are edge cases, man. Okay. When the RIAs and the wirehouses, which will take them another, I think less than 1% of RIAs are registered investment advisors. Okay. There's 13,000 of these guys. 10 alone manage 45 trillion. 10 RIAs manage 45 trillion with a big OT. Write down, if your audience has never done a $1 trillion number, write down 7 trillion and you will make a mistake. Okay. It's really a hard number to write down. We're just not used to these large numbers. Those 10, zero allocation. They move slow, man. They want to make sure the ETF's going to work. They want to make sure they don't have egg on their face. Also, these are 50, 60-year-old people, dude. When was the last time they even read a new book? Okay. Like they're not cutting edge. Like I might be 60, but I'm always doing something that's weird. Yeah. I'm having to always learn. So my premise is that there isn't this money hasn't really started to show up. And when it does show up, sometime in this summer, that RIA money starts to show up. If you get into the mindset of compensation, it incentivizes people's behavior. Somewhere around Q3, I think that's when the big volume starts hitting us, because who wants to be at the end of the year running billions of dollars saying, hey, we just had a move from 25,000 to 100 and we haven't gotten anybody into Bitcoin yet. That is not going to sell well, dude.
Yeah,
okay.
In theory.
When all their buddies are at a country club going, my guy allocated $500,000 and it's up to 2. And we're having to rebalance. This is going to become the issue. Oh, we got to rebalance. Ain't nobody going to rebalance, dude. You don't make 40%. Real investors go, you're going to cut. I'm up 40% and you want to curtail it? No, dude, let's cut some of our losers and hang on to this winner. Now, I can't wait for these people to go, oh, I'm up 40%, I'm out. That's dumb trading, okay? I'd fire that investment advisor. Hold on to that trade, right? So we haven't seen the real money, dude. Like we're getting ready to see money. I think everyone is underestimating Bitcoin and the flows that are going to come in here. Did you see Larry Fink's interview a day and a half ago with CNBC, and he looked like a 16-year-old kid?
Yep.
When asked the question, hey, did you expect this to be this successful? And he was like lost for words. Like, no, dude, like we underestimated the demand here.
Yeah.
Okay. The demand is severe. People are waking up. 78-year-old guy called me the other day from England. Hey man, do you really believe in Bitcoin? Yeah, dude. He said, okay, I'm going to get an allocation. 78. You know why? Because his real estate's doing shit. His core business is doing shit. He sees electricity prices going up to like $1,700 a unit in England. Gasoline's $11. There's no jobs, right? And he's 78, dude. Okay, now he knows me. Okay, so I'm but like I got a 75-year-old sister into this shit. She put it all into her IRA. I mean, look at this phenomenon. The legacy players, the older people, when you tell them, hey, you can buy Bitcoin now, it's really, really easy. Oh yeah, I've never done that. But you know what? I guess it's really violent. Really, it goes up and down. Oh, I'm going to put all my RRA in it. It's weird. It's like, well, I thought you said it was really violent. Yeah, but I want a really great return on that. Oh, so I'm seeing people take the thesis, the way they think, it's really, really high risk. And then when you get them around it, okay, the first money I'm going to put in there is the IRA money. They're actually telling you they agree with you on the long-term thesis, but they keep talking about volatility. Anyone that talks to you about volatility on Bitcoin and does not show you the chart of what that volatility has resulted in is irresponsible, man. It's like saying, hey, look, Gary didn't shave today, so he's an animal. It has nothing to do with it. Okay, yes, it is volatile, but it's up 600% in 5 years. Like, who cares? Okay, real estate's volatile. The only difference is, call my brother up and ask him how all his buildings are priced today. They've had to lose some value, dude. There's a liquidity problem in real estate right now. Unit building XYZ, we paid $150 million for it. Maybe it's worth $140 today, but you don't know because there's no chart on real estate. True. There's also no liquidity on real estate. Like, it's 90 to 180 days to sell it. The cool thing is my distributions are still showing up. I don't care if building ABC has lost 20% of the value. I'm still receiving $23,000 a month from it. Right? So the investor shouldn't care. Why don't they care? Because they can't see a chart. Right? They can't see a chart on real estate. But try to sell a piece of real estate. It's not liquid. Right? Now, Bitcoin is, I think, the most liquid currency and asset in the world, irrespective of proximity. And by proximity, I mean, you and I right now cannot do a US dollar cash trade very easily without using Venmo or somebody like that, right? And then you're still not going to get those funds instantly. But Bitcoin, you could live 2,000 miles away and we're instant liquid, man. Liquid, like cash done, no refunds, no chargebacks, no bitches, no complaints. We are final. That 24/7. That's a different product, man. Like, it should have a premium to it because we don't have products like that. I bought Node 40 on a Saturday afternoon at 2:30 and did the transaction at 2:30 in the afternoon, $3.5 million, man, from 5 institutions. And the guy was able to use the funds in 2 minutes. That is staggering. Okay. That I didn't have to call the banks, 5 banks, spend 20 minutes on wire transfers so that he would then get the money on Thursday, assuming I did it on Monday. No, I did it on Saturday afternoon while Celsius was blowing up. Okay. 3.5 mil moved to one entity and bought 40% of Node 40 using crypto. Took a big tax loss to do it, which was a benefit to me that year. And then I've reloaded all that Bitcoin at a lower price, which, I don't mean to control this conversation, but everybody, while we're talking about volatility is one of the greatest characteristics of Bitcoin. You just don't understand how to use the volatility. But the volatility looks like this. I was talking to some guys last night because they were charting out, hey, because I think we're going to go to around 210, 250, and then continue to have retracements, big retracements, 60, 70, 80% retracements. I think that's one of the, well, that's what we've had for 15 years, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what Amazon had, and that's what NVIDIA had, and that's what all these monsters have, okay? They have big drawdowns. Why? Because most of the people investing in these are professionals. They have bonuses. Okay, when was the right time to sell Amazon? The answer is never, ever. Okay, they had drawdowns all over the place, 80, 90% drawdowns. But why did all of Wall Street, all these smart people sell? They're rebalancing their books, man. They want to make a commission. They want to make their bonus for year end. Okay, I'm in Amazon, now I'm out. This is why all these RRAs going to be very active in October, because who wants to have their dick in their hand going, December the 31st, 2024, we didn't allocate into Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're all going to go, hey, man, we got in 24. Really, what does that mean? Did you get in at 15 or 150? 2024, dude, that means nothing. But they're going to want to say, we didn't wait to 25.
Yep.
But just saying, hey, we got in at 2024 with everybody else, that they'll be able to save their jobs. We're getting to a point now, if you continue to resist Bitcoin as an advisor, you're probably got a career problem now. Whereas before it was, I'm not telling anybody about Bitcoin, dude. I'll lose my job. Now it's going to be, oh, wow, you resisted this? You're going to suffer, right? This is game theory on steroids, man. Okay, at every level. The guy making bonuses. I mean, these people make money, right? These are insurance sales guys, right? They're 55-year-old investment advisors. They're not risk takers like me. I'm not telling you to buy Bitcoin. I'm buying the damn Bitcoin, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're going to just tell people what to do or make an allocation. Many of these people at that age couldn't spell blockchain, have never studied it, still think it's stupid, because you have to like really get into their head over their old world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and like, this is one of the problems with the community. I hear people talk to my brother like, hey, you're a fucking idiot, man. You should be buying Bitcoin like your brother. I listen to this and go, dude, why would you tell my brother he's an idiot? He's worth so much money, he doesn't have to buy Bitcoin. Like, he doesn't care. And furthermore, he's not going to shut down his entire real estate business that he spent 30 years building to go into Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. But that's with the Bitcoin. I've never seen more people go, you should and you should not. I'm like, well, gosh, are you a billionaire, dude? Because when I want some advice, I'll ask you for it. Pretty weird, dude. I just don't think that's the way we're going to sell. What's going to sell this is the investors themselves, the people that pay the fees to these people. They're going to look at their portfolio or someone else's portfolio and say, why am I not in this asset class? So we're just at the very, very beginning, Ryan, on the education, on the opportunity, education on the industry, a dismissing of all the bad data that's been really perpetrated and pushed out as just, it's just bad data, like anonymity. There's nothing anonymous about trading on blockchain.
Yes, sir.
Like, I bought Node 40 for that very reason. It like, if you want to do a crime, don't do it on Bitcoin.
100%. 100%.
So we'll get there.
It's funny when people like Elizabeth Warren say that, that it's used for criminals. And I'm like, well, you have to be a pretty stupid criminal to want to use Bitcoin, because that's the last thing that you should be using.
Correct. That's correct. So I like all these guys making those stupid comments, because it's so easy to go, oh, really? She said that? Mm-hmm. Wow. She really does not understand this.
Do you think that the corruption in our politics and what we're seeing in people like Elizabeth Warren and Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, everything that went down with FTX, do you think that's playing a monumental role in helping retail investors wake up and really realize that they should be paying attention to this, because those are the people that are telling us that it's bad?
Nah, I think most people are robots, man. They do what they're told. They're sheep. Mm-hmm. Somebody asked me the other day, what's the best advice you can give anyone on the planet? And I think, don't ever get in a line and stand for anything. If 15 people are doing something, go the other direction. Herd mentality always is wrong. 7,000 years, man, human behavior. When groups of people make a decision, it is usually wrong.
Where does that leave us? Where does that leave us for America with what's going on around here right now?
I think it leaves people like you and me with the opportunity and maybe even a responsibility to become more outlier, more open, look, there's no way for my career trajectory to get to where it did. Like, if I listened to all the teachers and all the advisors, you and I wouldn't even be talking. Okay. I'd be working somewhere making a 300 grand a year on a 401k, miserable. Okay. Like at 41 years old, I walked away from 25-year career because I wasn't happy anymore. I was like, I'm bored, dude. I'm gonna stop doing this, and I'm gonna take off 5 years and go study myself, study religion, study history. 41 years old to 46, I did nothing, absolutely nothing. Read books and studied. And then when we had my wife, my girlfriend at the time said, "Hey, I'm pregnant." I'm like, "Damn, I gotta get a job." And she said, "Why do you have to get a job?" I'm like, "Well, we can't possibly have my daughter watching me sit at a computer screen all day, doing nothing, man. Like, that's a bad message." Now, it's funny, I was just talking to my 14-year-old last night. I'm laying on a couch outside having a Coca-Cola and working at 8 o'clock at night, literally laying down. And there's 800 people I'm communicating with. And I looked at it and went, now this is a career. And she just looked at me like she probably is like, how does this guy do this, man? Now, her mom works 20-hour days. Can't get off the phone, dude. Meetings to meetings. I don't do that. My point is that I think the future, like if we use our brains, man, me not following the group has been probably my secret potion. Just literally, if there's a big line, just don't follow it. Now, I could be wrong for months at a time, but eventually that big group, they all get slaughtered, man. So that to me, I know it's a bit of a weird piece of advice, but I think it's going to be really, really important. Look what happened with the vaccine, man. You know why me and my brother didn't do that shit? Because we're not waiting in line. No queue for me, dude. Not a chance. Okay. It's just a thing that we have. It's like, well, if everybody's getting in line, you probably don't want to do that. Because if you look at the way we've succeeded, and I'm not doing this at all, like, how the hell did this happen? Two guys from one house took completely different paths, but the similarity was we were like, fuck you. We're just angry little bastards, right? That we are not going to be told what to do. We're not going to follow the path. If you interview my brother, he'll tell you he would have no social network whatsoever if he listened to everybody about what to do. He said, I listened to all these people. He said, every one of them are wrong. So I think being an outlier, I think that's probably one of the reasons that I was attracted to Bitcoin was the anarchy side of this. I don't have to be a robot to play in Bitcoin. That comes with some other issues. There's a lot of personalities in Bitcoin, as you know. But that's fine. I mean, it's very common for an evolving market to have a bunch of characters.
Yep.
They'll fade. It'll be a history story in the future, right? You'll forget most of this.
You know, it's funny is when I took a couple months off, I was telling you, and I stepped away from crypto for a little bit. And one thing that your brother always said that stuck with me was, I would rather have money, or I would rather have connections than money, right? Because with those connections, I can make way more money. So when I decided to rebrand this show, that was actually in the back of my mind. I was thinking, I built a podcast that interviews Bitcoiners, right? At the very least, I'm going to come out of it with connections, and those connections are going to be worth their weight in gold. And that's kind of how we're here. And before the show, I wanted to give a big shout out to your brother, because when everything was going down with COVID, right? Your brother came out there and was doing those Twitter spaces with everybody and was standing up for what was right. And I'm sure he took a lot of heat for that. And I can only imagine. And I see you're out here doing it with Bitcoin, and I think you're probably going to take a little bit of heat from it. Are you guys worried at all? We can wrap it up on this with like seeing what Michael Saylor has done, and you know what a big splash that's made in the financial industry. Do you think he's going to become a target by this corrupt administration, people like Gary Gensler and the regulators, the SEC? Are you guys afraid to become targets at all? or are you ready just to blaze that trail?
Well, I think both of us are already targets. I've had my three letter agency group. Bring it, man. Bring it, dude. My closet's so fucking clean, it's unbelievable. So if you can find some dope on me, it's because you manufactured it. So bring it.
Yep.
I could have made billions of dollars being a criminal. I just refuse to disrespect my family in that way.
God bless you.
Yeah, well, it's just, it's a journey I decided to take. Dude, these people are impotent. Okay, you're impotent, you're ignorant, you're maniacal, and you are psychotic, and you will go over the edge because psychotic people do this. They don't know when to stop. They're highly narcissistic. They bring no value to the world, so they're just going to suck the life out of it. What we need your crew doing, and my crew, one is combine. Okay, why do I want you to follow me? So that our community is bigger, dude. Okay, I don't need shit from you other than your mind, your heart. We all come together and start agreeing. Let's figure out what we can agree on first before, okay, you believe in somebody else. Okay, I immediately don't like you. Who cares, dude? Of course, we're not going to agree on everything, okay? But what can we agree on? It's so much easier to decide what we don't like about each other instead of, hey, I don't like Biden, dude. Okay, I don't like what's going on there. I don't like Obama. I don't like Bush. I don't like any of these people, okay? I don't want to go to war anymore. Like, where are my core principles? That's the other thing. Bitcoin has been really cool for me, is it's really taught me to think in some different ways. I know it's really hard for a lot of people. Like, I've learned more in the last 3 years in Bitcoin than I learned in 8 years of education. And hopefully that I've come here with some of my legacy understanding of supply and demand and commodities, because that's really where my expertise came from, was the energy business. And hopefully I'm able to educate and maybe communicate about this opportunity slightly different than super code and self-custody and some of these really, I think, polarizing conversations. Because I don't think Bitcoin needs to be success. We don't need to tell the world we're going to take over. Like, dude, we're either going to take over or not. No sense in advertising. Like, if it's great, then it's going to be great. So I just think if we can just come together, right, and really use the power of this decentralized media opportunity we have to reposition our data, because the news is poisoning your children and it's poisoning you, right? It's making us think we can't do things. But I am not worried about these people, dude. Like, I spend no time worrying about them. I really admire our Justice Department, not our Justice Department, our legal system. The Supreme Court is doing an outstanding job of turning over enforcement, capricious targeting of winners and losers by enforcement agencies. And I've always said, this whole LGBT thing, like, we've just gone crazy. The Me Too thing went too far.
Yeah.
When the what's it called? The pendulum. When the pendulum swings, people forget, man. The pendulum goes this way, dude. It has to go all the way back. There is no, it's just going to go in the middle and stop. No, dude, it's going to go all the way back. And I think we're going to get to a point. This is why I say all these politicians, just let them do whatever they want to do. Give them a bunch of rope. They will take until it becomes obvious to all the people, even those people that are sitting in the queue, took the vaccine, pays the ticket, pays the taxes, never pays attention to anything. You too will wake up, man. And that, we need people to wake up, dude. Really wake up and vote for no war, low taxes, and let's produce something in America again. Let's produce something again, man. Yep. England produces nothing. Europe produces nothing. and they're going to get fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have agriculture, we have freedom. Let's make sure we keep the freedom.
Absolutely.
That means you and I need to be able to communicate without being censored.
Absolutely.
That's more important than Bitcoin.
I agree.
No censorship is more important than Bitcoin. I don't give a fuck about Bitcoin. If we're censored, then we lost the game.
Yep.
So I need to be able to drop the F-bomb with you because that's the way I communicate, man.
Couldn't agree more.
I'm not going to control my God is not worried about a 4-letter word.
Yep.
He's too big. My God's too big to worry about a 4-letter word.
Agreed.
So, or a 3-letter word like Bitcoin.
Gary,
somebody should have said once, this is God's money.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
he, what was the saying about, I forget the Bible verse, but when he, you know, the people tried to bring him gold and he flipped over the table and was like, you know, you guys are debasing that money. It has no value in here. You came here to pray, you know? And, I think that's a great way to end it. I want to be very respectful of your time. We're already over that hour mark, man. This was an absolute fantastic conversation. Anytime you'd like to come back on, it would be an honor to have you. Especially, I would like to hear more about your businesses and what else you have going on in the blockchain industry. And I just appreciate you giving us our time and sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ryan. It's a pleasure and happy to do it. Happy Easter to everyone.
Yep.
And let's have a great, what are we in a quarter? We got 3 quarters left. So I think it's going to be an awesome 2024.
Amen, brother. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks, that's a wrap over on the Ryan Matta Show. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Make sure you guys swing down in the description and follow Gary. Like he said, you know, support the people that are out here putting it all on the line to support Bitcoin and help bring you guys that educational content and really teach you about these digital assets that are going to change the world and help, you know, make the world a better place for our children. And that's what we need to keep fighting for. So God bless each and every one of you. Hopefully you have a fantastic day. Thank you for sticking with us, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.
Run.